About the cause of the vitiligo, one certain thing that we already know is that it relates to the stress. And if you don't understand that the stress is the main cause of the vitiligo, then the chance that you're going to cure the vitiligo will be very limited. So patients need to understand that the principal cause of vitiligo is the stress, which is very vigorous and happens very abruptly. So if the patient understands it and try by himself or with the doctor, try to cope with this attitude and control the environment to lessen down the stress, the feasibility of cure the vitiligo will be very high. And if any patient can do moderately, it's going to result that the vitiligo to improve dramatically and can be sustainable. Other factors that cause vitiligo that we know also related to the immunological pathway and also related to the hormonal pathway. And also a lot of knowledge about the light therapy that can stimulate the melanocyte. Somehow the melanocyte is weak. All this knowledge is true, but it's more fragmented. It's like we speak English, we speak any language. Every single word is true, but if you don't know how to interact or you form a sentence, the problem will be that the sentence or the phrase or the paragraph will not be completed. So the treatment rely on all these causes that are fragmented, needs somehow to have a principle and know the correlation. If you can do that, which mostly the principle of it is a stress related to the nervous system, which we're going to talk about this in the next question. Any patient with vitiligo problem will understand that the current therapy, such as light therapy, immunological and hormonal therapy, including the surgery such as the skin and pigment cell transplant, are not doing a good job. One thing that I would like to point out is that if you rely on the light therapy, you have to think that while you have to increase the dose of light therapy such as UVA and UVB all the time, that in fact if you think about it truly, you're going to feel like the skin resists that kind of therapy, because if that therapy is working in like medication, you're supposed to lessen the dose down instead of increase the dose up. Increasing the dose up, like the dose of the light, is mean that you are failing, right? The second concern that you have to think is that when the pigment regrow, it imitates the pigment that regrow from the hair follicle that you've seen in the burned skin. And that is a result of pathological response. Because if you want the normal skin to repigment, it's not supposed to copy the result of the scar pigment. And that pinpoints that our knowledge about the current therapy for vitiligo is not completed. It has been believed that a vitiligo patient may develop skin cancer such as squamous cell carcinoma, basal cell carcinoma, more. But disregard the melanoma because you don't have melanocyte on the lesion. So the chance to have melanoma is nil. But the chance of squamous cell carcinoma and basal cell carcinoma, somehow the experts think that it may have a higher risk. Because in albino patient, you're going to see that when you have a depigmented skin, somehow you don't have melanocyte to prevent your skin from the trauma, especially from the sunlight, and that lead to the increase of skin cancer. But the truth is, at the current time, the truth turned out that it's totally opposite. In the vitiligo lesion, it rarely develop any skin cancer. And then the expert realized that if you connect between the fact that the vitiligo lesion will not respond to the UVB treatment, you have to increase the dose all the time. So that means that the skin on the vitiligo lesion is very really inert and very retarded to any information. And there's a paper that when I was a resident at the University of Cincinnati, we do the research in the mice. And also there's data that on the white lesion of the vitiligo patient, it's very developed any inflammation at all, and you don't have a dermatitis on that lesion. That means that the inflammation rarely occur on the vitiligo lesion. So that means that somehow the skin is very inactive. Okay, so that point to the treatment that any treatment will not be able to stimulate the skin to wake up and repigment because it's very retarded. One thing is very unique about vitiligo is that you have two types of vitiligo. The first one is the segmented one. You're going to see that the lesion is somehow it just stopped at the midline, and the lesion somehow it follows the nerve segment or the nerve dermatome. And the second type of vitiligo is that it spread to the body, is more like a systemic vitiligo. In this group, you're going to see the symmetry lesion, like if you have the lesion on the right hand, you're going to have the lesion on the left hand. And if you compare each patient among different ethnic or different race, you're going to see the stunning similar between each patient. Look at this picture. Some patients we have in the midline, and then we have in the both sides, something like that. It's very similar, and that's very intriguing. Make the people think that somehow that's about the nerve supply. The second point that we have to think is that the skin always have to connect with the brain. If you bring up the picture that try to map the area of the brain, you're going to see that the brain work with the skin very, very closely, and then you're going to see that it dedicate a lot of area in the brain to the skin. So that means that the skin somehow work more or less like the outside nervous system, and then connect with the inside nervous system within the brain. So these two make a lot of scholar people think about the autonomic nervous system not inside our visceral organ but on the skin, because when you have a significant organ to work with other organ, like the skin work with the brain, the skin work with the heart, something like that. If your heart pump, then you're going to have more blood supply on the skin. So the skin have to have an intrinsic autonomic nervous system. And this paper will show you that there's an interest in Germany about the autonomic nervous system. And when you deal with the autonomic nervous system and then you regain the normal intrinsic control of the autonomic nervous system on the skin, you're going to feel like all the knowledge that we have previously known about the immunological, the hormonal therapy, and the light therapy, when you combine that on the platform of normal autonomic nervous system on the skin, you can achieve a better result, almost never seen before, in two issues. The first one is that when you use the light therapy, like a UVB on the vitiligo skin, the dosage is going down, okay? Because if you use higher, you're going to burn the skin easier. So the dose, if you use like a 300 millijoule, you have to come down to 220 and then come down to 200 instead of 300 and go up to 400 and 500. And the second one is that the pattern of the pigment that we curl back, it's going to grow out from the edge, periphery come close in, and it come in very gradually, and the skin will be a little bit light hypopigment, and then after that, but it's sustained the red color of the erythema, and that will serve like a nutrient for the skin, and then finally the pigment will grow back. So we think that if we follow these 4 questions and then the patient stick to the regimen of the therapy long enough, like 6 months, you're going to see the dramatic improvement. Hopefully that this clip will help you, okay? And we're going to come back with another difficult skin problem to this channel.